is a lamp unto my feet, and a light unto my path. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet, and a light unto my path.
A reading from the book of Genesis. Then he charged them, saying to them, I am about to be gathered to my people. Bury me with my ancestors. In the cave in the field of Ephron, the Hittite, in the cave in the field of Machpelah, near Mamre, in the land of Canaan, in the field that Abraham bought from Ephron, the Hittite, as a burial site. There Abraham and his wife Sarah were buried. There Isaac and his wife Rebekah were buried. And there I buried Leah. The field and the cave that is in it were purchased from the Hittites. When Jacob ended his charge to his sons, he drew up his feet into the bed, breathed his last, and was gathered to his people. Realizing that their father was dead, Joseph's brothers said, What if Joseph still bears a grudge against us and pays us back in full for all the wrong that we did to him? So they approached Joseph, saying, Your father gave this instruction before he died. Say to Joseph, I beg you, forgive the crime of your brothers and the wrong they did in harming you. Now therefore, please forgive the crime of the servants of the God of your father. Joseph wept when they spoke to him. Then his brothers also wept, fell down before him, and said, We are here as your slaves. But Joseph said to them, Do not be afraid. Am I in the place of God? Even though you intended to do harm to me, God intended it for good, in order to preserve a numerous people, as He is doing today. So have no fear. I myself will provide for you and your little ones. In this way, He reassured them, speaking kindly to them. So Joseph remained in Egypt, he and his father's household, and Joseph lived 110 years. Joseph saw Ephraim's children of the third generation, the children of Machir, son of Manasseh, were also born on Joseph's knees. Then Joseph said to his brothers, I am about to die, but God will surely come to you and bring you up out of this land to the land that He swore to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob. So Joseph made the Israelites swear, saying, When God comes to you, you shall carry up my bones from here. And Joseph died, being 110 years old. He was embalmed and placed in a coffin in Egypt. The word of the Lord.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Saint Matthew. Jesus said to His apostles, No disciple is above his teacher, no slave above his master. It is enough for the disciple that he become like his teacher, for the slave that he become like his master. If they have called the master of the house Beelzebul, how much more those of his household? Therefore do not be afraid of them. Nothing is concealed that will not be revealed, no secret that will not be known. What I say to you in the darkness, speak in the light. What you hear whispered, proclaim on the housetops. And do not be afraid of those who kill the body, but cannot kill the soul. Rather, be afraid of the one who can destroy both soul and body in Gehenna. Are not 2 sparrows sold for a small coin? Yet not one of them falls to the ground without your heavenly Father's knowledge. Even all the hairs of your head are counted. So do not be afraid. You are worth more than many sparrows. Everyone who acknowledges me before others, I will acknowledge them before my heavenly Father. But whoever denies me before others, I will deny before my heavenly Father. The Gospel of the Lord.
My dear friends, continuing the instructions of Jesus, let us reflect that God has given us His complete providence for our safeguard. In the Gospel today, we hear that you are more worth than sparrows, because it is mentioned in the Gospel that even a sparrow does not fall to the ground without the knowledge of the Father. My dear friends, and it is mentioned, you are more worth than sparrows. We need to treasure and value the worthiness God has given to us as human beings to be called children of God. And the divine providence and sustenance that He provides, my dear friends, is much more beyond than earthly sustenance and providence. We have experienced difficulties and limitations because of lack of goods, lack of facilities, lack of time, lack of space and movement. All those things have given us a lesson. But my dear friends, things will come to pass, and when we come to that point, when we are to pass from this world, it is divine providence and the power of God that will redeem us. Therefore, we need to reflect on the words of Jesus, even though He uses very simple metaphors and similes. He uses them for the simple people to understand. In our day-to-day life, we experience all kinds of problems and all kinds of troubles. Sometimes we question how are we to get out of these problems, how to get out of these situations. My dear friends, it is by our deep faith, prayer, and our connection with God that we can get out of these problems. Perhaps sicknesses or all kinds of other difficulties of life may not ease out immediately, or we cannot prevent ourselves getting sick, or we cannot keep ourselves against these kinds of powers, evil powers in the world. But my dear friends, our goal, our aim should be, by overcoming the limitations and restrictions of this world, to reach out and reach our goal of faith of meeting God our Father in heaven. Therefore, divine providence, divine sustenance of our soul, my dear friends, must be our priority. We need to constantly sustain ourselves with the spiritual nourishment so that we will be safeguarded and our soul gains freedom and redemption in the kingdom of heaven.